We are in big trouble, folks. I have a shocking development for you. Now, the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, is provably dishonest based upon the lies on her CV. Her professional resume is about as trustworthy as Prince Andrew at a Girls Aloud concert. But who cares about her character as long as she's doing a good job in the Treasury, which she is not. Now, I'd be quite happy to have the serial killer Hannibal Lecter as Chancellor of the Exchequer, as long as he got the economy growing, inflation down and interest rates to a manageable level. He can have as much liver and Chianti as he likes if he helps Britain to balance the books. But instead of a serial killer in number 11, we have a serial failure. And our truly hopeless Chancellor is today faced with more huge problems of her own making. Now, the Telegraph report that the £10 billion in financial headroom that she left herself to borrow has completely disappeared. Is that a black hole, Rachel? Apparently, slapping onerous red tape and unprecedented taxes of £25 billion on business is bad for the economy. And Britain is now, according to some experts, already in recession. Rachel Reeves has achieved one thing, though. She's not just the first woman chancellor, and I don't know about you, but her anatomy is so important to me. She's also the first chancellor to grow the economy by shrinking it. That is a magic trick that would make even David Blaine proud. Now, the truth is that when you're running the country, nothing is more important than the economy, because it pays for the police, the doctors, the school teachers, the roads and welfare. But Rachel Reeves has sent our economy on such a downward spiral that in 4 years' time at the next election, we'll probably all be living in tents, queuing up at soup kitchens and selling our firstborn on the open market in exchange for a woolly blanket and a tea bag. The worsening economy is making life harder for everyone. I find this vandalism of our once dynamic and competitive country deeply upsetting and enraging. So what's the latest we hear from number 11 about our impending economic doom? Rachel Reeves has swapped paintings of former prime ministers and royalty with artworks commemorating lockdown. That'll make all the difference. Apparently, the Chancellor has removed portraits depicting her male predecessors, David Lloyd George and Benjamin Disraeli, because, of course, men are bad now. Do keep up. And instead, the hallways are graced with abstract depictions of social distancing and COVID anxiety. How appropriate that this Chancellor should celebrate the insane communist policy of lockdowns, which have created all the problems we now face. Whether it's the crazy debt, the mental health tsunami, destroyed businesses, a waiting list of 8 million people on the NHS, and a generation of damaged kids, lockdowns that this wretched Labour government wanted more of have absolutely ruined Britain. And now the Chancellor wants to celebrate them, whilst at the same time magically losing £10 billion. Now, the Bank of England, who, the last time I checked, were not a right-wing extremist group, have halved Britain's growth prospects for the year. And whilst Rishi Sunak tamed the lion of inflation, it has come roaring back with its sharp teeth around the Chancellor's neck. So it's a big problem for you and for me, but it's a big problem for this Labour government too. Because now they can't splash the cash in the way that left-wing governments were put on this planet to do. Whether they like it or not, they'll have to become a conservative government, because it's now Rolex-wearing international financiers who decide how much Britain can actually spend these days. And that is the international bond markets. They are in charge. And so when Jeremy at Credit Suisse says non, then frankly, non means non. Whether they like it or not, this government is going to shift to the right big time. Because given Reeves's promise not to raise income tax, national insurance on workers and VAT, they're going to have to cut spending. It's going to be austerity 2.0 on acid. Plus, huge public concerns about the current levels of illegal and legal immigration will mean this bunch of woke progressives led by a human rights lawyer will have to swallow their pride and their principles and close the border, Trump style. Because Rachel Reeves and her disastrous October budget have destroyed the economy, she relinquished her authority and her executive power to actually run the economy. It is external international forces now that will decide everything. We might as well have a computer in charge. That wouldn't be bad, would it? Would you take an AI-generated version of Rachel Reeves at this point? It wouldn't be any less robotic or lacking in charm, would it? We could put the computer in a dress, so it could be Britain's second woman chancellor. Now, to make matters worse, panicked savers are now rushing to open cash ISAs amid speculation that Rachel Reeves is going to scrap their tax-free benefits. Applications for these accounts are up 325%. Hardly surprising that a socialist chancellor should have her eye on our savings, having just attacked businesses, farmers, pensioners, and families with kids at private school. These progressives detest aspiration and see anyone with assets or money as greedy, selfish capitalists. And they have a cultural chip on their shoulder about business. Well, now the chips are down, lol. I'm afraid we've got to live with this rotten progressive ideology for the next 4 years, with an outgoing health minister who said he hoped pensioners that didn't vote Labour would die, remember these are the good people folks, only to be replaced by someone that believes you can identify as a llama if you so wish. I wonder if Rachel Reeves will start taxing llamas for all that valuable fur of theirs. I doubt she would tax camels though, because they would get the hump. You're welcome. I hate to tell you, but things are only going to get worse. Labour has just been branded the party for shirkers as it emerged that more than a dozen Labour MPs are backing an insane idea. This will be a law for an official 4-day week. Now, this backbench group has thrown its weight behind an amendment to Angela Rayner's Workers' Rights Bill, which is going to make it harder for employers to get rid of useless staff, and which axes very popular 0 hours contracts. Well, they want to add a provision that employees only need to show up from Monday to Thursday. Rayner's bill, without any changes, is expected to cost firms £5 billion, which will be passed down to customers like you and me and workers within those businesses. And a proposed 4-day week will likely make things even worse for companies, sending businesses to the wall, and it will further erode Britain's already anorexic levels of productivity. We're currently about as productive as a eunuch in a fertility clinic. These nutters want to transition to a 32-hour week. A 32-hour week? Blimey! That's less work than a minor royal does. And of course, they want no change to pay. This government is a car crash in slow motion, and the problem is that we are the passengers. It gives me no pleasure to tell you that, but that is the truth. I'm so angry about it. This is my country and it's yours. I love the place. It was badly run under the Tories, but things are now 100 times worse. I don't know what to do, frankly. I'm absolutely devastated by what's happening. I think the only sensible option is to get online and find myself a good tent, because I'll need it in a few years' time. But then Rachel Reeves will probably try to tax that too. Sorry, folks, but I'm not a happy camper, and I know where I'd like to shove this tent pole. Thank you so much for watching. For bonus monologues, written journalism, live videos, and the chance to message me directly, why don't you head over to my Substack, where you'll also get long-form interviews and no censorship. All you've got to do for a whole new world of Dolan is head to markdolan.com. I'd love to see you there.